warmer and the objective of heat transfer in it, the mode of heat transfer in it, and a problem regarding to it. So let's continue without further ado. As we all know, the heat transfer process related or involved in the blood warmer working of the blood warmer is convection. So let's first see what are the things that we are gonna discuss in this particular video through this PPT. The contents. We will discuss about the process, the objective of heat transfer, a problem given and the statement of view obviously, the schematic diagram regarding to that problem, the assumptions that are to be taken in order to solve that particular problem, the analysis of the problem and the comments made to that. So let's start. So, as I said earlier, that the process related is convection. What is convection? Let's have a brief idea about that. It is a mode of heat transfer in which energy transfer takes place from one place to another due to the macroscopic motion. Just remember that word, the macroscopic motion in a fluid added onto the energy transfer. Now, here is a short video for you in order to understand how a blood warmer works. The YouTube video, let's get it to it.
The following demonstration applies to Ranger Standard Flow and Pediatric Neonate sets. Remove warming set from package and check to ensure all lure connections are tight. Slide the warming set into the opening on the front of the Ranger blood fluid warming unit. Close the clamp on the inlet line. Spike and hang the fluid bag. Be sure air is removed from it.
The removal of air from the water bag.
Connect the shorter inlet tubing to the blood fluid administration set. If necessary, attach the end of the longer tubing to an extension set. Now prime the line. Check to verify that all clamps are open. Turn the bubble trap upside down and allow it to fill completely. Then, turn the bubble trap right side up and place it in the holder located on the side of the warming unit. Continue priming the rest of the patient line. After priming, the warming set is ready for use. Connect to the patient. Turn the unit on. In a few seconds, the LED display will turn on. And in less than 2 minutes, the system will be ready for use. The warming set cannot be removed from the warming unit during infusion.
These are the things that
the
are
warming
to be
set is
keep in
primed
mind.
before insertion. The warming set will not fit into the cassette insertion slot. If this happens, lay the warming set on a flat surface. Lower the fluid bag below the set. Close the roller clamp distal to the cassette and work the fluids back through the channels of the set. To remove the set after use, close the blue pinch clamp on the inlet line. Next, open all clamps distal to the cassette. Allow the fluid to flow to the patient for 2 to 3 seconds. Infusing only a small amount of fluid will relieve the pressure holding the warming set. And if you cannot remove the warming set, the warming unit may be below patient height, creating too much back pressure. To relieve the back pressure, lower the fluid bag below the unit. This will allow the warming set to be easily removed from the warming unit. Another way to remove the warming set when the fluid bag is still connected is to close the roller clamp distal to the bubble trap. Then squeeze the bubble trap and close the blue clamp before you release the bubble trap. When the bubble trap is released, it will draw enough fluid out of the cassette to allow it to be removed from the warming unit.
So as you all have seen a beautiful video showing how a blood warmer works. Now let's move on. So as I was talking about, the objective must be clear. What is the intention of warming the blood through the warming device? Well, the reason behind it. What is the reason behind it? That we have to use the blood warming machine. Well, blood warming is usually required to get the temperature of blood from 37 degrees Celsius from the storage temperatures of 1 to 6 degrees Celsius. So all blood warmer does is to raise the temperature of the blood from storage temperature, which is 1 to 6 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius, in order to prevent a disease known as hypothermia, which is a blood transmitted disease. Let's move on. Okay, so as I was talking about the problem given, so now the problem statement, as you can see on the screen, so but I will still read it for you. A blood warmer is to be used during blood transfusion to a patient. The device is to heat the blood from 10 to 30 degrees Celsius at a flow rate of 200 milliliter per minute. Tube length is 2 meter and area is 6.4 mm cross 1.6 mm. At what rate heat must be added to have the required temperature increase? Estimate kinetic and potential energy changes if the fluid originates from a tank of zero velocity and flows vertically downward for its 2 meter length. So before solving the problem, the schematic diagram is very important in order to solve any heat transfer problem. So as you can see the schematic diagram, I'll zoom it a little bit so you can see it properly. As you can see, the velocity 200 milliliter per minute, T in and T out are given. T out is 37 degrees Celsius and the T in is 10 degrees Celsius. The blood, the 6.4 mm and 1.6 mm, the thickness is 2 meter as it is given. Now the assumptions. What are the assumptions that need to be taken in order to solve the problem? The first assumption is the steady state condition. Number 2, the incompressible liquid with negligible kinetic energy as well as potential energy changes. And the third assumption is, in this particular problem we have to assume that the blood has properties exactly that of water. So let's continue with the analysis. So as you can see the analysis of the problem, I will zoom it a little bit so you can see it properly. The two things we need to find out are the heat transfer and the kinetic and the potential energy changes. So the first, the equation as we all are familiar with, Q is equal to m dot Cp T out minus T in. Well, m dot, which is the mass, m dot is the rate of change of mass. So mass, we all know that mass is equal to volume into density. So density into volume flow rate, which gives the result of 3.32 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg per second. So as we got the value of m dot, we will put it in the first equation and we will take the value, we will get the value of Q from there, which is 375 watt. So we got the answer of the first part of the question. Now the second part, what is the kinetic energy and the potential energy changes? Well, in order to do that, we need to find the velocity. Well, how can we find the velocity? Well, easily, we can find the velocity easily if we divide the volume flow rate with the area. Volume flow rate by area gives you the velocity, which is 0.33 meter per second, as you can see here. Now as we got the velocity, we can now calculate the kinetic energy change, which is half mv square. Now v, as you can see that the m dot half mv square minus 0, it is because the initial velocity is considered as negligible. So initial velocity was 0 now, and the final velocity half v. So that half mv square, that gives the result of 1.8 into 10 to the power minus 4 watt. And the change in potential energy is m dot gz, which is the 3.32 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 9.8, which is the value of g, into 2, that gives the answer of 0.065 watt. So that was the analysis for you, and these are the comments at the end, that we have taken that the kinetic energy change and the potential energy change is almost negligible with respect to the thermal energy change. As that is, we have assumed that the comments that given that, and it is clear from the comments that as we have taken that we can see that the kinetic energy change and the potential energy change are almost independent of the thermal energy change. Thank you very much.